I got to talk a little bit about some of the. There was a football game that happened over the weekend. You might have heard of it. It's a pretty big one. Listeners of mine who listen in other countries, I know there are many, might not know what I'm talking about, but we tend to have the big finale football game, as you could call it, in February, and it's widely televised. And ads that run during the game are like $7 million an ad. It's incredible. And you're also probably wondering why I'm being extra cryptic about what the game is called. You might not know this, but the game that happens, the actual name is trademarked. So, and this is something I've learned in my job in commercial radio and doing things outside of this podcast. That's actually trademarked. So if I am in a venture that makes money, right? If I'm a commercial organization, I can't actually say the name of that game. And seeing as how I have the Patreon and you donate to the show, and at some point, one day I might make money. I might like maybe $5 or something. I don't know. But that being said, I best steer clear of the name should I incur the wrath of the corporate lawyers of the football world. So that is why I'm being extra cryptic here. But you know which game I'm talking about. It's that one that some people watched, and I guess football happened during it. Is it really even about football anymore? As someone, I'm not the biggest football guy. Friends of mine will probably point that out. I'm definitely a big car guy, but I'm about 100% a car guy and this tiny little bit into other sports. But is that game even, is it even about football anymore? Does anyone actually watch the big game because there is football happening? I don't know. I feel like diehard football fans should actually be disappointed in some of the fanfare around said big game, because like the football is such an insignificant part compared to, there's the halftime show. And then you get the millions of people who just tune in to watch the ads. I mean, we live in such an interesting world that people tune in. Normally, if you're an advertiser, you put an ad out in front of a large, sporting event in hopes that the viewers of the sporting event might watch your ad and might buy your product. Well, we have this weird dystopian version of that where people tune into the sporting event to watch the ads and then tune back out when the sporting actually begins. It's fascinating to me. It is truly fascinating to me. This is the world we live in. But that being said, every car maker, well, not every one of them, but a good chunk of them, decided that it would be prudent for them to put advertisements in the game. And there were a couple of different ones. Jeep had an advertisement, Ram had an advertisement, GM had an advertisement, and Kia had an advertisement as well. The Kia one specifically is one that we're going to highlight because it's a little different. I'm not sure they were actually advertising a car in it. But that being said, General Motors enlisted the help of Will Ferrell. There we go. I had to get that right. They enlisted the help of Will Ferrell and Netflix, apparently. They teamed up with Netflix, Will Ferrell, Netflix, to advertise cars. And it's all going in the EV trend. I will warn you, viewer discretion be advised here that they all advertised EVs with the exception of Kia. So Kia might actually be the hero in this case. But then again, I'm not sure Kia was actually advertising an automobile. So we'll get to that. But here, I got a couple of sound clips. I'm going to share these with you. And I'm only going to share a small portion of them. So again, the football lawyers don't come and, tackle me, pun intended. So here, check this out. This is a clip from General Motors ad with Mr. Will Ferrell and also Netflix in it. Check this out.
General Motors is going electric, and Netflix is joining in by including more EVs in their movies and shows. It's the least they can do. So if you're going to get swarmed by an army of the dead, why not get swarmed in an EV? No! I said no biting. Or if you're being voluntarily kidnapped, why not be kidnapped in an EV? What's that scent? Is it pine?
Okay, clever advertising. I'll give him that. But to answer Will Ferrell's questions that would you rather be bitten by zombies in an EV or not? I would rather not be in an EV, and I would also rather not be bitten by zombies, just to clarify. But I would prefer being in an EV in general to being bit by the zombies, but the EV and the zombies, that's going too far. I couldn't handle that. But also getting kidnapped. well, why would you get kidnapped in a regular car when you could get kidnapped in an EV? And also, I'm sure there were references in this to television shows that I don't watch because I only watch shows about cars. But I'm sure like if you could pick a car to get kidnapped in, why not choose an EV? Well, again, the same thing as the zombies. I would rather just not get kidnapped in general than have to get in an EV. I think forcibly being put into an EV would also just count as being kidnapped. So I would rather not have that. But not to mention the fact that I think EVs are uniquely bad at being kidnappers' vehicles. Because think of this, the EV is silent, right? It makes no noise. Follow my logic here. It's silent. It makes no noise. That means if you've been kidnapped and you're trying to scream for help, as the car's driving down the road, people are just going to hear you screaming for help, and then they're going to come help you or something like that, or at least they would call the police. Whereas in an internal combustion engine car, it can be loud, especially if it's got a V8 and maybe some straight pipes. No one's going to hear you in there. Literally, no one's going to hear you crying for help in a combustion engine car from your would-be kidnappers, especially if you're Will Ferrell and you've been kidnapped by, I don't know, it looks like space aliens. It's a TV show that they were... I don't know what show that is. This shows my pop culture knowledge. Can't even say it right. That's how much I know about it. But yeah, I guess I'm maybe not helping the whole internal combustion argument by saying that actually internal combustion cars are probably better if you're a kidnapper. But I'm sticking with the argument. That's what I'm sticking with. Now, Dodge also had some fun stuff. Dodge had a clever advertisement. Poking a fun at certain pharmaceutical advertisements that advertise for a certain medical condition that shares that shares a name that rhymes with ED. But they're talking about electrification. Trust me on this one. Listen to this.
Are you excited about buying an electric vehicle but worried that it could leave you unsatisfied? Then you could be one of many Americans concerned about premature electrification. Symptoms may include fearing you might not be able to last as long as you'd like.
There was plenty of charge before, and sometimes it goes away.
Well, yeah, sometimes the charge goes away because that's when the battery runs out on the electric pickup truck because it's cold. Yes, that's what happens when you run the electric car out. When you drive it far enough, the battery runs. No, I'm trying to like, make this a more family-friendly joke here. I really am trying. Oh, man. But you know what? Dodge says they have a prescription for that, and they say that is the new Ram REV, the Ram Rev. So they have showed their new Ram EV pickup truck. Now, we knew this was coming. No one was surprised because Ford has the F-150 Lightning, as we know. Chevy has their EV Silverado and the EV GMC Hummer thing, whatever that is, big stormtrooper on wheels. This is something we know. I mean, the truck companies, the pickup trucks, they want to electrify them. Obviously, some electric pickup trucks are interesting and they are cool. I get all sorts of hate for hating on electric cars. I think electric cars are fun in some circumstances. Though at this point, I probably would rather be bitten by Will Ferrell as a zombie than ride in one. But that being said, they have a purpose. I have always said this on my shows that, if we want to be a energy diverse economy, an energy diverse culture, we should have gas and electric cars. There's no sense in banning one in favor of the other one. But that being said, electric pickup trucks, Ram, obviously kind of debuted their Ram Rev. It doesn't roll off the tongue very well, but the problem I have with the Ram Rev is that they call it the Rev for Ram Revolution, and also it has EV in the name, so it's kind of a play on Ram EV. I get that, but by calling it the Ram Revolution, the Ram Rev, it just, let me put it this way. It can't rev. The truck can't actually rev, right? Like, hear me out. Like, the Ram Revolution, there are no revolutions that happen in the engine of this truck. There's no revolutions per minute. It can't actually rev because it's electronic. It's an EV. There's just motors and batteries, and that's it. So how is it a Ram Rev? The Dodge actually named their truck something that it cannot do, that it physically cannot do. I guess you could count the revolution of the wheels as revs. if you're watching on video, I'm shrugging my shoulders here. But by that logic, then all cars are Ram revs if they're only revs because the wheels spin. I would hope on your car that the wheels spin. That's usually preferable. Currently, pointing at the car behind me, its wheels aren't doing a whole lot of spinning because I broke it again. But that's, yeah. So typically you want the wheels to spin. Dodge, if we interpret rev as being revolutions of, say, an engine, Dodge has named their truck the one thing it literally cannot do. And I don't see the marketing purpose in that. I really don't understand that. But alas, they have done it, and their bid for publicity, because people will talk about it, has worked, because clearly I'm talking about it on this show. So I guess we have succumbed to our corporate overlords at Ram, and hopefully the football lawyers are still steering far and clear from me. So anyway, so yeah, the Ram Rev truck, it's not surprising. It's not surprising that they announced it in the Super. I am actually gonna have to bleep that. I made a slip up there. That's bad. I can't do that. So anyway, I am actually gonna have to go back and edit it. What can you do? But that being said, it's not as bad as Kia. Kia, I'm not really even certain they were advertising a car. Now, I don't have a sound clip from their ad to play right now, but what their ad was about a dad with his wife and his infant child leaving what looked like a hotel, and leaving this hotel and realizing that he forgot the baby's pacifier, or the binky as it is called. And the name of this advertisement was called Binky Dad. So this is the Binky Dad advertisement, and it's a really bizarre advertisement, namely because they teased the ad initially with a post on social media of a pacifier just sitting on the ground and a Kia logo next to it, leading many followers on their social media to speculate that the ad was about forgetting babies somewhere, and that the ad would include a new Kia feature to help you not forget your baby, which I'm told as a person who is not a father, as I do not have children, I'm told that forgetting babies is a common problem. Which, by the way, if that is, it's not good. You don't want to forget your babies. That's bad. You really don't. Like, that's actually bad. But that being said, that left most people to speculate that's what the ad was going to be about. And they were sorely disappointed when it was just about the dad forgetting the binky. But here's where this gets weird, because so he forgets the binky, and just because binky's fun to say, he forgets the binky, and then gets in his Kia Telluride, which is their SUV, named after a town here in Colorado, in my home state, Telluride, Colorado. It's probably named after that. I don't know many other Tellurides, but that being said, he gets in his Kia Telluride, drives around, the world is suddenly staring at him. They're playing him on social media inside this advertisement. The news is talking about him, and he makes it all the way back to the house to pick up the binky and go back to the hotel to pick up his wife and baby. And apparently he grabs the wrong binky. It's not the blue one, it's the green one. So the world ends, and no, he goes back and gets it again. But the whole point of this ad left a lot of viewers confused. Okay, so there was a car in it, but they weren't really advertising the car. They didn't advertise any features of the car. Aside from the car's mere presence, that was it. That's because it turns out they weren't advertising the car. No, instead, they were advertising, and this, honest to God, this is weird. They were advertising a petition on change.org. That's what this ad was really for. And going to the petition here, the petition is to have a new emoji added to the emoji index or the official emoji repository, whatever this is called. The people who make emojis and standardize them, that. So they wanted to add a binky emoji to it. And so this whole advertisement, which let me remind you that big game ads, I caught myself again, that big game ads cost about $7 million. They're about $7 million, depending if you have a 30-second or a 60-second ad. Most people go for the 60 during the game. I mean, keep people there. They're riveted. They're there for the ads during this rare occasion. Okay, so $7 million. Now, I just went to change.org here. I pulled up the the petition, which was started by Kia America, the official account. Yep, Kia America started this petition to have the binky added to the emoji keyboard. And do you want to guess how many signatures this has? We're now a couple of days after the ad aired. And is 500, as of the time of recording this show, 579 signatures. That's all. That's all. They spent, let me remind you again, they spent $7 million on an advertisement that didn't even advertise a car to advertise for a new emoji, a petition no less, that got 579 signatures. The Super Bowl is viewed by how many millions of people? Tens of millions of people. It's one of the most broadly, most watched sporting events where they play sport ball in television. That's what they do. They play sport ball and they do it on the TV. And it's one of the most widely televised sporting ball events that happens. And they got 579 signatures. And it's not like I'm recording this mere minutes after the ad aired. We're days now after the advertisement aired. If I was Kia's ad department, I would consider that a flop. They didn't even get the signature, the petition. The petition, by the way, the goal was 1,000. The starting goal of the petition was 1,000 signatures. And that's only so it can be featured in more recommendations and promoted to other people per change.org's policy. They spent $7 million on an ad. Let me say it again. They spent $7 million on an ad that wasn't about a car for a change.org petition that didn't even meet the 1,000 signature goal. And it was televised in front of the world, or at least America. We think we're the world. So it was at least televised in front of every viewer here in the United States. How is that possible? I really don't understand this. Look, you would have been better off if you were Kia and you just wanted to get the emoji added to the keyboard. You'd have just been better off giving that $7 million to the mysterious emoji syndicate that regulates all of this stuff. I swear. What is the organization that regulates emojis? They're mysterious. They exist. They preside over even Apple and Google and perhaps all worldly governments. And so you could have just bribed the syndicate with that $7 million and they probably would have given you your stupid binky emoji. That's probably what would have happened. And you know what? You could have bribed them with the $7 million and then gotten a Kia Telluride emoji, a picture of the little car. They're a car company, let me remind you. They're a car company. You probably could have just done that. That's what Ford did. Ford wanted to get Ford wanted to get its pickup truck, the F-150, as an emoji. That, like, the official thought that any pickup truck emoji is an F-150. That's what Ford wants. I mean, look, at this point, Kia would have been better off just doing that. So what can you do? Oh, man. I have a feeling that everybody in Kia's advertising department has been fired. They have been unceremoniously sacked from their positions over this. I don't know if anyone... like watching that advertisement, honestly, watching any of the advertisements. There was even a Jeep advertisement. I didn't even get to that one. The Jeep advertisement was a Jeep that was driving around. It was a Jeep EV. Again, by the way, all the ads were EVs, except the Kia one, which was about a baby pacifier. But the Jeep one, it was an EV Jeep driving around in nature, and there was dancing animals, dancing CG animals. Because who doesn't love dancing animals? I mean, I'm all for dancing animals. Jeep did that, and then they finished off the ad by having the electric Jeep plugged into a mysterious charger at the top of a mountain. Why was the charger there? How did it get there? They did not answer that. Did the singing animals put the charger there? They also did not answer that. I don't know. That's, by the way, a bit fanciful. You see all these EV ads for off-road EVs now, and yes, enjoy your off-road EV driving through the woods and off-roading and doing all these outdoorsy things. And then you just plug it into a mysterious charger that exists at the top of the mountain. No power cables present. Not likely they would have underground power cables going above tree line and blasting through tons and tons of rocks to lay underground cables. No, it's a bit fanciful in my opinion. I don't think you will be finding, when we have more EVs on the market, when they gain a little more market share, which they may do at some point. I'm told that people like them. But I don't think we're going to be finding mysterious chargers at the top of mountains above tree line and all these other. I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. Again, my best theory in this Jeep ad is that the singing animals put the charger there using whatever same witchcraft allows them to sing. That's probably what did it. So just a trend I'm noticing in EV ads. I will say my final decree, my final judgment on all of these big game ads, these ads that happen during a sport ball game of significance. My final determination, which ad was the winner? Which one won? I mean, Will Ferrell got eaten by zombies in the first one, which was pretty entertaining. That was the GM ad. And he also got kidnapped in an EV too. So, I mean, that's obviously, that's a contender. The Dodge ad, I swear the guy they had like being the spokesperson in the ad was the dude they normally have voicing their other ads. He sounded familiar to me, but that one was funny. That one was definitely funny. A little bit of off-brand humor. You can never go wrong with that. Jeep with the singing animals and the mysterious chargers. That ranks pretty low for me. I like singing animals, but the mysterious chargers, that definitely put it beyond my my threshold, my suspension of disbelief, you could say. I can tolerate the singing animals, but the mysterious chargers appearing in the woods, I can't. I just can't pass that. That's not allowed. So that being said, that leaves just one, which I suppose the Binky Dad Kia ad wins by default, considering it was also the only ad not about an EV. Well, I guess the Telluride has. Well, we're gonna overlook that. It was an ad about a baby pacifier, and it had a failed Change.org petition, and through that, I must give it the win by default. So that was an unfortunate turn of events, but what can you do? What can you do? Here we are. Now, hey, some more fun stuff to talk about here. We're going to talk about, coming up after the break, how those clay models that car designers use cost over $500,000. It's nuts. We're also going to play more of your car sounds right here.